So we had three options at that time. One was to basically go to the country like USA, UK, and Australia. So I chose USA at that time because we all know America is a land of opportunity. So I decided to come here.
Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, the mind can achieve.
Welcome to the Dream Big and Think Different podcast, where we inspire, impact, and empower.
Progress is impossible if you always do things the way you have always done things.
It's time to dream big. Here's your host, Dr. Sachin Maskey.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to my very first episode of Dream Big and Think Different podcast. And I'm your host, Dr. Sachin Maskey. I'm super excited today to do this. And you guys are tuning and listening or watching to my podcast. I would really wanted to welcome you all and thank you very much for listening. Again, this is my big milestone for me to start this podcast and how to share my knowledge, grow together, and connect with you all. Disclaimer I want to make today is this is not a legal advice, tax advice, or your professional any financial advice. So I would recommend you to consult your team, your tax attorney, your CPA, and your doctor to make any decisions for yourself. Information here will be basically a general purpose only. And I will highly recommend to talk to your tax professional, your attorney, and other people whom you trust. I would like to recommend everyone who is listening and watching this to please review, rate if you're listening to the iTunes. And if you're watching this on YouTube, I would really appreciate if you can subscribe, like, and share with your friends. The first good news I would like to share today is there will be two lucky winners in this podcast. Whoever gonna review, rate, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Basically, we will be doing a lucky draw. We'll be basically providing information below this YouTube channel. The link will be there. You just have to fill the Google form, and then basically we will select two winners from there. Again, four things we're going to talk about today. Number one is introduction. I'll be talking about myself, a little bit about where I come from, what I'm doing, and why I'm doing this podcast. And again, I'm going to talk about giveaway that I just a few minutes ago I was talking about. And number three, we'll be talking about the podcast itself, the mission of the podcast, the style of the podcast, and basically the content of the podcast. And lastly, I will be giving you some tips for today, for the podcast. So first of all, about myself. Again, those of you who don't know me, my name is again Sachin Maskey. I was born and raised in Nepal. I was born basically in the place called Dharan, which is the eastern part of Nepal. I did my schooling from first grade to 10th grade, and then I went to India to do 2 years of schooling, and I came back to Nepal, which I did my medical school in Pokhara, Manipal College of Medical Science. So after that, in 2004, so basically at that time we had something called guerrilla war, a civil war, and I was thinking to myself two reasons. One is the safety of me and my family and future, and then also further education. So we had three options at that time. One was to basically go to the country like USA, UK, and Australia. So I chose USA at that time because we all know America is a land of opportunity. So I decided to come here. And back in 2006, I exactly remember it was 2006, I landed in this country with $2,000 in my pocket. And I had two suitcases at that time. And all my family was back in Nepal. So basically, I had to come here, living all my family and start from scratch. So anyways, so back in 2006, I was basically, struggling, and basically I didn't have a place to live, place to eat. And, I got some help from my families here in US, my relatives and some of my close friends who helped me out. And basically after a struggle of 1 year, fast forward, I got the first job, or my residency program, which we call for a physician to get trained, and was in Bronx, Lebanon. And I started my first job or residency in 2007 in Bronx, Lebanon, and completed my residency in about 3 years. And then basically after that, I moved here where I'm right now currently practicing since 2011. So 2011 to 2018, I was just working as a regular doctor, seeing patient and coming back home, having, a good time. And first thing I like to share that my first, happiness in my life is basically my firstborn child, who is now 11 years old. And I was, 2011, and then 2015, I was blessed with my daughter. So they are now 11 years old and 7 years old, my daughter. And I'm also blessed with my beautiful wife. She's a dentist, and I am very fortunate that all this, my education, without my dad and my mom sacrifice and their blessing, I'm not, I'm what I am today. Basically, in 2018 is the year, I guess somehow, I was about 38 years old, I believe. And then, I started thinking, I have everything in my life. Basically, God has given beautiful house, a car, job, everything. So I started thinking what I've done for others. Basically then I was just Googling one day in the computer, and I found a lady called Olga Murray, she's 97 years old, and she's from America, and she was back in Nepal for past 30 years. And she's like 97 years old. And I was like, and she was giving back to Nepal. She went to Nepal at 65. And again, for the past 30 years, she was helping Nepal there, starting a nonprofit. And I was very inspired by what she was doing back in Nepal for past 30 years. So, and again, I immediately emailed her and I told her, Olga, I'm from Nepal. I born and raised. I wanted to be part of this mission that you're doing. And she wrote me back, and I went back to Nepal finally in 2018 to meet her, and got inspired and came back to US and started my first nonprofit here called Dhana Yoga Foundation. So that's the first thing I did here. And the mission of the nonprofit, which is 501c3, it's wealth and prosperity for everyone. So Dhana means wealth and yoga means prosperity. My mom first name is Dhana Maya. My dad first name is Yogaraj. So Dhana, my mom, and Yogaraj is my dad name. So Dhana Yoga Foundation is wealth and prosperity for all by improving two things. One is health and education. So our basically goal is to build hospitals, especially for diabetes center, in the memory of my late brother Pravin Maskey. Unfortunately, he passed away when I was 21 years old. So with that, we wanted to build a diabetes center, Pravin Diabetes Center, in the remote areas of the world, especially India and Nepal and around the world. Number two, we also wanted to build a school for blinds and orphans. So that was the first thing I did back in 2018. And then I started, in order to do those things, I need to, first be financially free, and so that I can have some time and start doing all those things I want to do. So I started reading some books, and I found a book called Rich Dad and Poor Dad, which completely changed my mindset from the W2 mindset to investor mindset. So I started doing some investment and trying to learn and connect. And then I found another book called Think and Grow Rich, which has completely changed my mind and my life. So I found the concept called mastermind. So I started, thinking about masterminds, and then I found, I joined a couple of mastermind back in 2000, around 2021. So basically, some of those are Rich Doctor Inner Circle with Tom Burns, Kyle Wilson, and Black Card, which was an investment fund secret, and also personal mentorship with Vinay Chopra. So those are the people I closely connect with and have learned so many things, and blessed with my mentors and my families, everything so far. So again, so those are the things. And in 2020, I burst my bought my first property in Providence, Rhode Island, um, which is a 3-unit family. And basically, so second thing I did is I started a company called Avatar Equity. I'm the founder and the principal. So Avatar Equity is a private real estate firm. We acquire recession-resistant real estate in emerging market, mostly focused in southern eastern part of the country. And our mission is to help like yourself, doctors, dentists, and a busy professional to achieve financial freedom. We currently focus on land development and especially in Central Florida, and we are building 150 townhomes, which is approximately about $60 million project once it's built and rented in about 3 years from today. I'm also involved in multiple other investment like oil and gas, or precious metal, real estate, and also involved in board member or in a few companies, startups. I was about 6 and 7 figures and planning to exit on those in through the 3 years with 10 figures, hopefully. Lastly, and I also have my personal website called Sachin Maskey MD, which is basically focused on my personal brand and where the podcast will be hosted, basically. And then I'm also planning to do a future mentorship program.
You're listening to the Dream Big and Think Different podcast with Dr. Sachin Maskey. Be sure to stop by SachinMaskeyMD.com to download a free copy of Dr. Maskey's book.
So I'm also author of this book, Persistent Pivot and Game Changers, which is Amazon #1, and back in 2021. So if you have not, downloaded or bought the book, you can get it in Amazon. And the most important thing in my life is I'm blessed with 2 kids. Again, my wife and my parents. And my friends and family. Number 2, we're going to talk about giveaway now. Basically, that's briefly about myself. Hopefully there was something to know about me and what I'm trying to do. So the second thing I'm going to talk about is giveaway. So again, I mentioned initially, but there will be 2 lucky winner. I hope you have also received the email, but we're going to probably put some link in the YouTube here, so you can just submit your name after you review, rate, and subscribe to our channel. And I'll be announcing that in a couple of future episodes. Regarding the podcast itself, I wanted to let you know we'll be doing basically right now 1 or 2 podcasts in a month. First few episodes you'll be hearing from me, and eventually the goal is to do about 1 podcast per week, so that I can do about 52 podcasts in a year. Solo podcast is something like this. I'll be talking mostly and sharing my ideas and knowledge and all that. I'm also thinking of doing something called co-host style, meaning I'll be bringing somebody else who wants to partner or collaborate with me to do a podcast. So if you guys are interested, or whoever is listening want to collaborate with me, please let me know. The most importantly, I think the most common ways we do the podcast is interview style. So I will be basically doing more of those in the future and bring some expert and top people in the industry whom I have learned and implemented a lot of the things I have done in my life. So the mission of the podcast, basically the content and the mission of the podcast is to inspire, impact, and empower. So anyone listening to this podcast, especially if you're a busy professional, if you're a doctor, dentist, and then our goal is to provide information so that you can achieve that freedom and do whatever you want to do in your life. Other things I'll be talking and bringing again a lot of interview with the people who has a dream to change the world and help impact billions of lives. I'll be having people with 6, 7, 8, and even 10 figures, entrepreneurs, business expert, real estate, finance. Again, something about health, since I'm a physician. We'll be talking, basic knowledge about how you can improve your overall health. Some tips about getting healthy mind, body, and spirit. And we'll be talking also about asset protection. Things like you don't want to own everything in your name and be liable. So the concept is you need to own nothing and control everything. I will be talking more about that. Estate planning, which is also a very important foundation of your wealth building strategy. We'll be talking about more about that too. Infinite banking concept, dual asset strategy with your life insurance, whole life policy. We'll be also talking about NFTs, metaverse, also a lot of investment opportunity that I've been involved in and hoping we can do something together. So tips for today's podcast, I want to talk about what is the true wealth. Basically, to me, it's definition for everyone, but for me, there are three things. Number one is health. I'm not biased because I'm a doctor, but without health, we are nothing. Even though how much money you have, if you don't have a good health, then we can enjoy what we have. So number one is health. Number two is family. Again, family is everything to me. Without family, I'm not where I am today. I have a strong family values. I would like to thank my parents, especially given that values to me so that I can teach my children. And number three is the freedom. Freedom of time, freedom of money, freedom of relationship, and freedom of purpose. So basically, again, three things. That's the true wealth for me. It's number one is health, number two is family, and number three is freedom. So again, everyone, today, I think I'm towards the end of my podcast. I would really appreciate if everyone listening or watching this podcast, I would like to get some feedback. Again, I would not be, I'm not perfect, but I'm learning and trying to learn every day and improve. And hopefully, going forward, this is going to be valuable information, and we can do something better together to make this world a better place to live and impact and inspire and empower people. Again, don't forget to sign up a giveaway that I mentioned before. There's a form that you need to fill out, your name and email, and submit the link so that we can draw that and announce the winner in the future episodes. Lastly, I truly believe the statement that I've learned from Napoleon Hill book called Think and Grow Rich, which is, if your mind, whatever your mind can conceive and believe, the mind can achieve. Again, whatever your mind can conceive and believe, mind can achieve. So with that, thank you everyone for watching these episodes and listening or watching. And again, see you next time. Namaste to the office. Adios. Sayonara. And see you next time. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to today's episode of Dream Big and Think Different. We hope you enjoyed it. Please be sure to subscribe to our show so you don't miss any gold nuggets. We would appreciate it if you could rate and leave us a review on iTunes, Spotify, and other platforms. And be sure to stop by SachinMaskeyMD.com to download a free copy of Sachin's book. Until next time.